Nigeria alone, I think, is 250. I was looking at some of the investors, they're saying, I'm going to invest in Nigeria. Nigeria alone is maybe 250 million and they have the capacity buying power. So, but of course, we need to appreciate some of these risk takers who have managed to come and invest here. I've seen the old players. I have to appreciate my new players, my colleague who was presenting here on day. Challenges are still there. Quite challenges, but I'm happy to see that some of the challenges are being addressed. Of course, the major one is the cost of capital. When you go to those countries there, the cost of capital is 4%. India, they can grow at 4%. Those other countries can be 1%, 2%. So, I think, and then the other challenge which we had was the skills. Every day here, we have now we are getting a pool of some of these pharmacists, chemists, and others who have really gained the skills from some of these industries. But I hear every day they have taken my pharmacist. So we need really to. I was challenging the universities in those other countries. We hear the formulations are part of the first PhDs. Get it? So link it between the universities and industry. That's where we do formulations. My colleague here from there was talking about the excipients, cassava starch, maize starch. We have so many things we can have. There are so many things we can. So we need partnership. What is fundamental is the skill sets. Because I was talking at so no longer the old time where we had the Margaret graduating on a few pharmacists. I would have quite a number. But I was thinking how we make sure they are absorbed industry. I was thinking that each department should have a pharmacist from the warehousing through the dispensary. If you have different lines, each line should at least have a pharmacist there. That's what I'm thinking. I think Farida, you agree with me there. You have different departments there. You need I'm not saying that the vets, by the way, I'm happy to see you. Although I'm saying that you have a deal somewhere, you want to go somewhere, but we still need you. So, in terms of the legal framework, of course, we have this armor. We are trying to, if you look at our new law, we have tried to address most of our challenges by borrowing from the African medicine law. The other one, of course, covers quite a number of products, drugs, medical devices. Here, our main, we have been given a new mandate. The new law is there, but it has not yet started. But as soon as the instrument comes out, it will start. And we have tried to address most of the challenges. My colleague was talking about maturity level 3. For us, we are not even looking at maturity level 3, we are looking at maturity level 4. Because we are, it's just the semantics of the law. We are there. We have invested in human capital, we have invested in equipment, we are there. Except what was disturbing us are some of those clauses in the law. But we have addressed them. If you look at the new law, the which was challenging us that how can you have a board of trade? And they was also telling us how can they regulate it. If you look at it, the director, director, so that one has been addressed. It is no longer those constituencies. They are saying, how do you avoid conflict of interest? So, that one has been addressed. Issues of mutual recognition. How do we, for example, the East African level, how do we recognize and work together? If, for example, the Poisons Board of Kenya has inspected this plant, should we go and inspect it again? If you have registered this product, can it move through the East African community? Free movement. But of course, challenges are still there. But, and the WHO profile, we are going to say, can you buy from here? Group of one, can you buy from here? Instead of buying from those others. So, I think one of the issues we can look at, can these government partners buy from the local industry? Because, but at the same time, can we make sure that we comply? So that is very serious. So that you are talking of vaccines. For example, should not produce the pentavalent in Kenya and then get it here. No. Can we say that if Kenya are producing the pentavalent, can we go into another one? Because that can be, in terms of the investment, it's not something small. So, but then we need to agree. Because I know we sit down and talk, but in terms of, but there's an improvement. This movement of yours is very can. For example, I know Kenya are a bit advanced, you have more industries, there's a lot of can borrow from skills. Skills have been really. We need to, my presenter there from day here, you have put it properly, the skills we need. How can we, and of course, I know that this university is becoming with you for industry. I don't want them to come on as the internship. No, the training should be part of them. I'm telling some of those from our school that you can put a mini R&Ds. Mini R&Ds in our universities there. If you want to go industry, I'm not referring others from our vigilance is very critical. It has also been strengthened in our Europe. Before it was just it was a sentence there. I'm happy to, Madam, you really now mentioned it properly. We have that regulation. Each product, each industry, we are saying, can you have focal passport? And I've seen my colleague Mayango writing letter saying, you have complied, you have not complied. Another issue which was disturbing us was lottery release. Because lottery release, they are telling us, especially, we are going to go into that. To be able to have lottery release so that your vaccines can be really exported. Because you are going to get invested there. We are hoping that your vaccines can be on the continent. Because it's a heavy investment, I've seen it. So don't get scared. And of course, we are entering I've seen so many entering in new areas, biosimilars, biopharmaceuticals. How is the quality assurance there? Because, of course, for the local, when you are starting, we tend to say this, but we are saying, we want real compliance. So that will be able really, if you put up that plan for oncology, able to do the quality assurance. So that we are able to know that instead of wasting time, repeat the same, sometimes you can do risk analysis and say, okay, this lab, you can depend on it, you have inspected it. We may not repeat totally all the analysis you have done there, so that once you saw really, we are on the right track. I think we are now still depending on around 75% of people. So if we work with the local industry in the next 5 years, can we take it to 50%? What do you think? In the next 5 years? Because we are now at around 75%.
We may not reach 100%, but at least we reach some
75
is the highest because the ecosystem has to depend on
Yeah, because now you have to also look at in terms of value. and the quantities. Because the values are in those products which I see you want to produce, the ARVs, the anti-cancer, not the other normal molecules, the paracetamol. But of course, we may not have a strict legal framework to say that we are stopping. What we are doing, trying to do is to make sure we give you preferential treatment. For example, we're able to supply government, and if you are slightly high, because here you know that the costs here are still high, cost of production is still high. So how do we leverage? Those countries have been talking about the funds, they are delivering, they subsidize. If you go to, for example, China, you find a very huge factory, heavily subsidized by government. So for them, they want to, even if you put the, like, for example, 15%, you still find that the imports are still cheaper. So we still need to look for strategies of making sure our local, as you have mentioned, it is security. It's a national security issue, especially if you are still depending on 75% of the inputs, as you have mentioned, we saw it. Even now, with a slight disturbance in the Middle East there, you can see, look around, products are not available. So, but working together with just strategy, for example, the keys, we can make sure we work together and if our products can move within the region. That is, I was looking at the bill at the ESC. I don't know whether local manufacturers have been invited to participate. The bill is a bill at the ESC. Yes. Talking about
We participated in the ESC bill.
But I don't know how it stopped, but
it paused because they lacked funding under GIZ. GIZ was funding it, but they paused. So that's what caused the framework and review of issues.
okay.
But we finished the draft.
Okay, I hope we should make sure that there's no protection. Okay, protection for us as a region, but if we can really. And we have been also talking about full procurement. We have talked and talked. That one is also still there. Full procurement and the east. Every month there is a meeting. It's a meeting. But I was advising, maybe let's start with a few and see how it works. And then that full procurement, can we use the local industry? Even if there are like 5 products, like the way the global fund is giving us antibiotics and the ARVs, can we do that? Otherwise, really the new law we are trying to address most of the challenges which are there, things of mutual recognition, vigilance, the weak penalties. We didn't go as far as China, whereby you can be put on the firing squad when you are counterfeiting. But I think the penalties, you get somebody in this new, the current law, you go to court, spend 3 years, the guy is charged and says 800,000, he walks out, in the same court he waves at you. But now I think we have to stimulate penalties. And of course, the other things we have been thinking about, this bill, this new law, still has the issues of practice embedded in it. The pharmaceutical said, yeah, when are you taking over your thing? The practice is in that, especially at the retail, I've seen it. Tanzania, like the medical and dental practitioners council, they license that clinic. And if you misbehave, they withdraw their license. But now the pharmacist is hiding there in the council, at our place. So maybe we need to rethink. There's that P, the triple P, remember? So we would want to shed off this the retail. But now as we talk, we are with it. For the vets, My land doctors there, they want to go another area, they want to go to my. But I was telling them, let them ask my friend from Kenya, they moved away from the policy, now they want to come back. To tell them, they want to come back because they found that really it's not viable. You are talking of antimicrobial resistance, should be one. The infrastructure is the same. The albendazole is the same when you analyze the lab. So, I don't know. I cannot ask you, but that is the way it is moving. But otherwise, yeah, my namesake. Then I think, yeah, next time we thank you for bringing it here. But can we look for strategies for moving it at AMA? Can have discussions. This AMA is just here now in Kigali. And then we look ways of making things practical. If we achieve one of those things, we shall move. And I hope with the local industry, there's a lot we can gather. The bottlenecks are still there, but at least there's some movement. I think Dr. Farida, you have one of the unique products. I think on the continent, if it works, I was there, people is there because they are crying. If it can work. It works. People are going to be, they're asking me questions. The cancer is not working. But now, yeah, but there are signs. I've asked some people, those who have used it, but it cannot be used in isolation. Other interventions have to be there. You cannot say you only vaccinate, but it's a new product. And if it works, it will help on the continent. Otherwise,